Five, four, three, two, one.
I'm Rob Sparks. This is I'm Wiggs. Big up. How you doing? Big up.
Great. So you guys announced your new EP, Eyes of March.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What you saying? You had a listen, yeah?
Yeah. December 13th.
You like it, yeah? Yeah. That's when it's coming out. Yeah, 13th. Yeah.
It's real groovy.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. How did you guys come by creating the EP?
Well, this is going back a little while now. Yeah, to be fair, mate. So, we've had this stashed away for like 2 years, just been playing it out in our gigs and that. Yeah. So that's what we tend to do, like to try and keep some of the material back for a little while, play it out in the club, see what the general feeling is, if there's anything, reactions, if anything needs to change, and take it from there, and then get the release on. And
So I seen that you had 4 songs on the EP.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Starting off with the Boomdock versus Kachina. Yeah,
with Nick Boomdock.
Right. And then you had...
That was more recent, wasn't it? The actual tune Eyes of March, that was about 2 years, but that one was a bit more recent, done that one with here. Yeah. It's kind of like, so...
You say that was more recent?
Yeah, a little bit more recent. Eyes of March and Rockers we did at the same time, and Waiting for You about the same time as well. Them 3 were done at the same time, and then Break of Dawn was a little bit more recent than that.
Right. I was kind of going through and listening, and like you say, everything sounds just kind of pretty good, well put together. How was the recording process? Yeah,
so obviously with Eyes of March and Rockers, it's all done. Actually, the first 3 tunes, it's all on computer. Waiting for You, obviously, has got that's Aff on it. That's got Afro on the vocals, and that was a bit more of a challenge because you're recording mics, loads of different mic takes and that kind of thing. With that, a lot of vocal recording on there. But the first 3 is all done in the computer, completely in the box. I don't think there was any. No hardware or anything on that. It's just all software.
What software did you use?
That was all Cubase 5.
Cubase, okay.
Ancient Cubase on a Windows XP computer, mate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Like things like Serum. And, Serum, bass is on... A bit of Omnisphere, probably. Yeah, Omnisphere, a couple of other stuff, really.
Do you guys prefer software better than...
No, since then we've gone completely hardware. I mean, we're a hybrid system, a bit best of both worlds, but, we've got some decent analogues now. Apollo 16... the Universal Audio Apollo 16 and Apollo Twin. We've got all the UAD plugins and some serious hardware, DI boxes. I think the sound, new computer, Cubase 9, Ableton 10. Just getting used to it all. To be honest, mate, it's quite time consuming getting to know everything.
So you like the Ableton? Do you guys like that?
We messed about with Ableton a bit. Yeah, I use Logic. I mean, myself. Rob uses Cubase. I use Cubase usually, but I do because sometimes I get project files in Ableton where people have wrote them in Ableton.
Right.
If I'm engineering, so I don't mind whether I'm mixing it in Ableton or Cubase. It's not that different. But obviously for mixing Ableton, if you want to mix and you mix from the not the arrange page, but from the mixing page. Then that's a whole different thing that obviously you can't do in Cubase.
One question I have for you, Rob and Wiggs. How did you guys meet?
I did a course years ago in this town out in the Midlands, Corby. Yeah. And I put an advert out for it, and there was Josh and a couple of his mates came down. Yeah, I was like... It was teaching Logic 9. Yeah, it was like some sessions, and it was... Yeah, because I used to work there. We did, there was like community work and stuff. We'd do week-long workshops for kids, and some of it was teaching in schools. Sometimes you get a bus and go around town and do like a performance
in outside a shopping centre or a skateboard park or something.
Yeah.
But this was like a session that was every week for a term or two.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Because Rob's a bit older than me, and I went to this college course, and then me and my mate had actually made this track that we bought in, and then it ended up getting released on Rob's label.
Finished it about a couple of years later.
Yeah. So.
And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
And then just carried on, and then just started. Obviously, that all finished, and then just carried on.
Yeah, he carried on coming for engineering sessions.
Bam.
There's a few people I've been working with for that who've been students before and carried on working afterwards. You know.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, when we started Kachina, I think there was this thing where it was a lot of sort of hipster bass music and techno, kind of all rolled into one kind of thing, and you get a bit of crossover. So you kind of house music with a lot of bass and that, and then it's sort of got more, I guess, more sort of garagey.
Yeah.
Since then, hasn't it? It's got more sort of Birmingham bass music kind of thing, bass and garage.
Yeah.
And are you planning on any shows as far as touring with the EP?
Yeah, we've got. We just play. There's a couple of nights in that we sort of play out fairly regularly.
Leamington and Leicester, we both.
Yeah, play out there. There's mainly that Bloop in Leamington.
Yeah, there's one in Leamington.
We were running a night with Prangman in Leicester for years, Susol, and that was at this club that's just closed down. It was getting a bit quiet towards the end, but there's a few people now doing events at a different club in town. It's called Anonymous and Below in the centre of Leicester, and that's happening at the minute. That place is lively at the minute, so we're playing there. And probably Music Cafe on the west end of Leicester
as well.
The Assembly in Leamington as well.
That's a good venue. I've been playing there.
We just play there every few months usually. We'll put on our own nights sometimes, or play at other people's sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wherever we get asked to play.
We've got to start a new one for Leicester, but we'll get back on it soon. It's just been, just taking a little break after the last series.
I got a question. How was it when you working with NexGen Music? How was that process?
So I came over to America in 2010. A mate of mine who's over there, he got me a couple of gigs out there. So I came over and went to Puerto Rico for 3 days. And then when I came back from there, I was in Harlem for about a week or so. So this guy introduced me to Dan when I was over there, and we started a tune, which I'm still working on it now. But it's going to be a sick tune when it's finished. It's just quite complicated. But yeah, we had a couple of meetings, and we carried on working after that. Dan got involved with managing my label, and I brought my label into the NexGen Music Group, because my label was Migration. That was originally dubstep, and dubstep with maybe a little bit of garage, but mainly sort of dubstep kind of thing. And then after I've been working with Dan for a few years, we started Affectionate Grooves for kind of more house and garage stuff, more like the Kachina stuff,
Okay.
There's been more labels since then. There's None Artist Unsub. There's just got a label, Pure Heart. Was it Pure Heart, Dirty Mind? And Wiggs, your label's probably going to come on board as well at some point, isn't it? Yeah.
So we got it.
It's a slow grow,
I see you guys are working really hard. I got a few more questions. I was reading as far as Ernest. I was reading about Ernest a little bit. And I see you guys said that he was somewhat of the inspiration for the EP, and I was wondering how so.
Yeah, Healy got some of the vocal.
Yeah, he actually on Eyes of March.
Yeah, that's some rare dubplate business that you're not going to find anywhere.
That was first inspired. That's how long. Well, going back further than that EP was made. Was Zurx was here involved in building it up, weren't he? And he's digging out these vocals.
Zurx has got he had like a library of vinyl basically going through all the different ages, from where does he start off with like dub music, dub reggae, and disco music, and then through to like 80s stuff.
I probably had about 40 years worth.
Yeah, you know, it's like then all the 80s styles, acid house, hardcore, and then drum and bass, and then garage, you know, house, classic house music, all of that. And you can hear that in a lot of our music, because when we're writing things, it's a lot of it's trying to get the different ideas from the different eras in there, you know,
right.
The different influences.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's, you know, there's a few samples in there, but it's you know, going through the same techniques. A lot of what we've done with Kachina is kind of rediscovery of the roots of the music we're into, you know, going back to the 80s and 90s, rediscovering the sounds. We know the techniques and that, but doing it for ourselves and doing it in a different way from how it's been done before.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes using the same kit, like we've got some of the same analog synths from back then now, and you know, some of the digital synths, like the computer versions of them, but it's the same digital data on there, you know, so we're kind of going back and rediscovering the presets from our favourite tunes, using them in a different way, or, you know, just finding other stuff that we didn't know about before.
Right. How can people find you guys on social media?
Just anything related to that, just go online, Google NexGen Music Group, and that NexGen Music Group, 3 words, and that takes you to the site. All the links for all our social media channels are on there.
On there.
Everything. There's a shop can buy music from there. There's like, you know, information about things.
Yeah, which actually as well, they usually have our releases on there.
Yeah,
like
pre-orders for the new next
2 or 3 weeks ahead of everywhere else. Yeah. So that's
merchandise and stuff like that on there soon as well. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a little taster, really, because we've got a 4-part album coming out I'd say probably in about 6 months' time, but it's going to have Eyes of March on there, and there'll be
a bit of vinyl release.
Yeah, 4-part vinyl. There'll be 4 different vinyls on there, 1 for each of the labels, and then 1 for there's 2 for NexGen, 1 for the down tempo, or, you know, alternative stuff, and the other 1 for drum and bass. So it'll be 4 vinyl, just all the best music that we've done over the last few years. Just
obviously, you know, stuff you hadn't heard.
Yeah, most of it's unreleased. Yeah. 1 or 2 things that come out will have come out by then, but most of it's unreleased, and that's what we've been busy with. Just locked away in the trenches. You know,
some heavy tunes on there, though, mate. Trust me, that's well worth one to keep your ears out for.
All right, I thank you guys for everything. I'm definitely gonna stay in touch and promote as much as possible for you.
Thanks, man. Good to know.
Big up. Cheers for having us, bro. Much respect.